Hey everyone, I am hoping that you can see and hear me. If you will please let me know by shooting a note down in the chat at the bottom. I'm hoping that you can see me. So I'm leaning over to look at my other computer to make sure that things are coming up like they're supposed to. And let's see. Uh-oh. It does not appear that we are live. Is it just taking a moment? Maybe there's a drag in the system. So I'm just double checking to make sure that we are good to go and making sure that we are started. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go try to fix this right now. So if you're watching, if you are happening to see this, go ahead and make sure that you are in your paper and your pen, or you're getting your computer all set up and ready to go. We're going to get started here in just a moment. And as soon as I figure out why this is not working quite the way it's supposed to work. And we'll put it in right here. I can see it's happening, so we're going to make this happen. And I'm laughing at myself because somebody's probably seeing all of this, so I will edit some of this out. Okay, let's see. There we are, there we are. And you might have to press refresh. All right, we are live. I can see us. Just a little bit of a delay. Okay, so hello, and welcome. I apologize for any confusion as you were coming in. We are going to go ahead and get started. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to get through. I have planned about 45 minutes to an hour worth of time, and so I'm asking that you make sure that you have your computer ready to go. What has happened? My name is Lydia, first of all, from Clutter Genius. I appreciate you being here. I have my trusty hat on because it's not a good hair day in the Clutter Genius household. We are going to spend today about 45 minutes to an hour is what I have planned for you, working through the brainstorming through to a post that is pretty much ready to go. It's going to require that you follow along with me. If you're watching this as a replay, you can still do it. Granted, the chat may not be at the bottom, but do definitely consider going through this and following the steps, and just make sure that you have your computer and your paper, and I'm a little bit flustered because I'm working on two computers here, so I apologize. All right, so just a little bit about me, just so that you know that you're here with somebody who knows what they're talking about. I am a high school English teacher. I've also taught at the college level, freshman composition to be exact. And freshman composition means that first class that you take when you go to college to learn all about how to write. I am a national writing project trained teacher, so a lot of what I do may be a little bit different from what you did in high school or in that first couple of years of college in your English class. I've been teaching for over 16 years, and teaching writing is one of my absolute favorite things to do, other than in the classroom and making everybody just want to stay in my room. I very rarely had people skip my class because they just didn't want to miss what I was offering. I see that several people are watching, so that is great, and I'm so glad you're here. And what I'm going to do is, I do know that I have a person that needs some help with hearing, and so I'm going to actually pop up with my other computer and show you that screen. Okay, so you should be able to see it down at the bottom, but can you all tell me, can you see that screen? If someone will just share in the chat box so that I know that you all are seeing the chat, that would be really wonderful for me. And then we will go ahead and we will get started with our workshop. Hey, okay, Angela, so you can see, great. Thank you, Angela, for telling me that. And I'm super excited. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep moving. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is, and you'll see each of my slides has a phase that we're in, and it also has the amount of time we're going to take with this phase. And I have it written out for anybody that needs it for because they either can't hear or don't hear well. And then also just so you have the instructions right in front of you. So the first thing we're going to do is free write. Now, if you are typing, then you're typing. If you are writing, then obviously you're writing. So however you have chosen to do this. And I want you to do this without stopping. So no matter what you do, you are going to just keep on writing. Right. You are going to, it doesn't matter if you repeat the word foot over and over and over and over, which is a hilarious thought, but it really just doesn't matter what you write as long as you continue to write and don't stop. So do not pick up your pen or just don't stop typing. I'm going to write for the sake of not you all not hearing my typing going, because I need to keep my sound going. I am going to play some music just so that we have some background noise. I think that that is very helpful in just sort of letting yourself think and get through what you are writing. What I do want to say is that the music that I am playing is in the public domain, so I have made sure that I am not violating any sort of copyright. Everything I do, I try my best to stay within the limits and the rights there. So we're going to get started. I have put 5 minutes on the clock, and what I want you to do, like I said, I just want you to write or type without stopping. Just let yourself go. It does not matter how it sounds or what it sounds like. Just write. Okay, are you guys with me? Everybody ready? I see Angela's in the chat. I appreciate you doing that. And all right, here we go. I am going to play some music. So 5 minutes on the clock, begin writing. We have about 25 seconds, so you need to be finishing up your thoughts. Okay, so go ahead and finish, like if you're in the middle of a sentence, go ahead and just stop your sentence so that you are able to listen to the next piece. What we're going to do now, you're going to take a minute and you're going to go back to what you just wrote and look at it. Now, if you're like me, I actually did write foot, 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 which is what I told you you could do if you got stuck. I did get stuck. Keep in mind that I'm also running this, so my brain's kind of in a bunch of different places. So my free write may not have been as filled as yours. So what I want you to do is just go through your free write. And if you see any potential topics, blogging topics, writing topics, I want you to star them, highlight them, underline them, however you want to do that. And consider that if you're on the computer, you're going to do that in any which way you would like. I would highlight if I was working on the computer. And I want you to dissect your thoughts. So if you see some really good potential topics there, then I want you to think about what was deeper below that. For instance, and I'll just use myself as an example, my first line was that blogging sure has taken a new form for me. When I started blogging, it was all just personal, and now I've gotten more into the teaching aspect. So I could spend that's a potential topic right there. My thoughts, what is hidden beneath that is how much my blog has changed. So see, right there is a post, how my blog has changed over the last 6 to 7 years. A little bit later, I talk about Angela, and Angela's on here today, and so I'm so excited she's here. Angela is the reason this is happening. She and I met together in a like a private hangout through Skype, and we kind of did the similar thing, and this brainstormed into a live free for all, anybody that would like to be here, workshop. So thank you to Angela, and shout out to you. So I want you to just take a few minutes. We're going to take 5 again, and I'm not going to play any music this time. I just want you to look through. It is going to be silent, so people coming in are going to be really confused, I think, but just take a few minutes, the 5 minutes. I am going to set my time, and you'll hear my fancy song at the end there when the 5 minutes is up. So if you would like to play your own music, that is obviously fine and welcomed, because we won't hear it, so it won't affect anybody on the side. Okay, you guys go. 5 minutes. We have just a little bit over a minute, and I'm not sure if you all are sort of stuck. Maybe this was too long. 5 minutes might have been too long. I know I've already gotten through my free write, but I do want to just let you know we have about a minute left, and then we will move on to the next phase of this workshop. All right. So now what we're going to do, let's go on to the next slide, because I want to take a minute and let you all have a chance to talk. Now, I know Angela so far is the only one that has used the chat box. So I want you all, if you can, oh, there's Shirley. Hey, Shirley. Shirley says, this is neat. Thank you. And good, Shirley. Okay, she says she's doing better with this phase than the last. And so what I would like to do is ask you, what are some things that you found in your writing? Or what are some topics now that came out of what you found? So I'll go first. Type or set up the chat box for yourself. And you do need to link that to either Twitter or get a chat box, a Chatwing account, or you can hook it up with Facebook. Like I see Angela and Shirley are hooked up with Facebook. Thank you. So a couple of things that came to mind for me is to talk about the differences in my blogging between now and back when I started. And in fact, in a group that I'm in, there was an interesting thread started where they asked us, what was your first blog post? And mine was about how I wanted to quit my job, which is just sad. But I was so fed up with what was happening. And so I went back and I read through that, and it was a decent post, but that was my very first official one. Okay. So that was just a very personal. I don't know that I ever intended anybody to fully read that. And then I have grown now to different things and intending to have a very specific audience. I've also thought, well, maybe I could talk about how distracted you can be if you're trying to do too many things at one time, which is what I find myself doing right now. I'm trying to run 2 computers plus participate in the writing workshop because I want to get something out of this myself, right? And I have a timer going on this side, a computer on that side. I'm checking the chat. So a lot of things happening for me right here. Other things that I came up with was when I wrote foot. So I'm looking at the underlying, like, what did I get out of that? Or why would I have written that? Well, partly because I told you all that if you got stuck, just write foot. And then also because, hey, I realized I wasn't on the screen. Also because that is something that I could talk about, the process for how I get my writing done. And so I think I would like to share very specifically how I write and how my process works when I am writing, from this free write idea to looking back at what I wrote to what we're going to do next. Else that I sort of realized that I was thinking about is like the fact that it looks like I only have 6 viewers. Okay, but there were like 21 people signed up to be here today. So why? What am I not seeing? So this is a tech question. I need to do some investigating and figure out what is happening between my site, the Google Hangout, and YouTube. So are there more people watching this? I don't know. So that would be a post right there, like a techie post. And I tend to do that here and there. So I'm waiting. I'm not seeing anybody sharing in the chat. Perhaps I need to refresh. So I'm going to lean over and refresh here. And see if there's anybody that has something they'd like to share down in the chat about what they discovered in their writing. Oh, Cindy says she keeps getting logged out. I'm sorry, Cindy. I hope that you're able to see. And Angela says that the 30% show rate is normal, so that's good. She also says there are always more people signed up than can be signed. They want the replay, and that's great. I hope that everybody will watch the replay or at least use the slides that I offer as a replay. I'm sorry, Cindy, that the platform's not working. Are you on my website? Are you on YouTube? I apologize for that. This is being recorded, so you should be able to come back and watch. Okay, we are getting close to the end of this portion. So let's consider next, and we are going to move on to our next phase. So the next thing we're going to do is write again. And I want you to actually, very literally, pick a topic from that free write, from what you wrote, and I want you, oh good, Angela says she found items. I want you to pick from that free write, and I want you to pick a topic and just go with it. And we're going to take about 3 minutes to look at that free write. Think about the words that are going to be your starting point. Think about what portion, what you would like to write about. And then if you have more than 3 minutes from what I'm about to say, then I want you to start to just sort of brainstorm some of the things you'd like to say. Don't write yet. Just brainstorm at this point. So 3 minutes. And when we write again, I am going to play music. But right now, I'm going to keep it quiet. All right, so 3 minutes, go. Okay, so we have about 10 seconds, and hopefully you were able to idea of what you'd like to write about. So we're going to move on. I do want to point out that Shirley just said, and this is awesome, that she began to connect her personal experiences and how she can relate them to her clients. She's a health coach, and that's wonderful. So I'm glad that the free write helped you to find some of those connections. What we're going to do now is going to be about 10 minutes long. So I am going to be quiet. I am going to play just some music and let you all work. And what I want you to do is take that topic and I want you to write. There should be no worry about grammar and spelling and punctuation. I am not going to come in and judge you in any way. And I want you to just let your brain go with this topic. Don't worry about it being in good, in any sort of good punctuation, grammar, spelling, any of that. Let yourself go. Let yourself get all the ideas out, and we'll look at what you've done. Okay. So I'm going to start the time, and music will play here in just a moment. Go ahead. Start. You have about 30 seconds. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and we're going to stop. Now, you may see now that there are two screens. And if that's happening, it's because my system decided to just finally come back up. So you can pause one. And I apologize if all of a sudden you had double time video going on there. All right, so let's move on to the next screen because we only have about 20 minutes left. We want to make sure we have plenty of time. I would like for you to talk to me in the chat box if you have a moment and tell me how that went and what went well, what didn't go well. Did you feel like you accomplished what you had hoped? Do you feel like you have a post in the works? Do you feel like maybe that you need some guidance there with that post? Go ahead and give me some thoughts in the chat, if you would, and just let me know some good things and some bad things that happen. We're not going to spend too much time here because we want to get on and let you write a little bit more or go back to your piece and think about it a little bit more. But I did want to give you a chance to express to me anything that went well or didn't go well or concerns you might be having about the process. This is, again, something I do like to do is really come back and think about what we're writing and what we're doing and think about the process and do reflecting there so that we have that metacognition happening. I'm waiting to see if anybody pops into the chat. I know that there have been some concerns there, and so I do appreciate your candid responses to how that chat box is going. But anyway, so I'm looking to see if there is a response or two. Okay, yeah, great. So Shirley says maybe a couple posts in the works, not totally have my exact topic narrowed down yet. And that's totally fine. And hopefully we'll be able to help you get a little bit more narrowed down. And then Angela said it brought up a lot of questions. I have a really good deep post that can become potentially one really thorough post or several posts on those pieces. And that is a really good thing to think about, actually. A lot of times that can happen. You could have one really big post that then breaks out into smaller posts. And certainly you could then make sure you go back and link back to those. That's a really awesome thing that you had happen, actually, if you are able to find multiple posts out of one big topic. That's great. And it is really emotional. Shirley, are you talking about you're saying that it's helping you to face fears with the writing? If that's what you're talking about, I totally understand. I know that writing, especially if you are relatively new to it or it's just never been something that has been your strong suit, I do know that can be hard, and people go through courses and classes where they're told that they're bad writers, and I don't think that's fair, because I don't really think anybody's a bad writer. We all have a voice and we all have something to say, and it's just a matter of getting it on the screen so that we can tweak it and polish it. Angela says her topic is embracing exactly where I am in order to get to where I want to be. I have been too focused on the superstars of her field. She's wanting to be where they are, but not understanding how they got there and what it really takes. Okay, so a lot of real deep looking at your own processes going on. I can get that. And the emotion is definitely going to shine through, and I hope it does shine through as you write your pieces and in your piece. And then Shirley said that writing and her experience in life, both of those are becoming emotional and difficult and facing some a lot of stuff. And Shirley, writing is a big area, a big place where we embrace a lot of emotions that we maybe didn't realize some things can come out and that we didn't even know existed. And that's what's the beauty of a free write, in my opinion. And so I do free write often to just get those out. And good, helping to find your voice. Wonderful. And we're going to talk about a way that we can foster that voice here in just a little bit. All right, so let's look at your brain dump, what you just wrote, what you just did. And what I want you to do is I want you to fine tune it. In other words, I want you to think about, I want you to really read it, and I want you to look at how you might need to rearrange that piece so that perhaps something that you wrote at the end would have been phenomenal at the beginning. Is there something that needs more detail for your audience? Is there, contextual stuff? What I mean by that is, if I came in to read your piece on health coaching and something about health coaching, am I, a person who is not a health coach, going to understand your terminology? So that's something you really need to consider about your audience, is making sure that they have all the information that they need to understand your piece and to get where you're coming from. So you want to make sure that if you have any terminology or any pieces that are pieces of the puzzle that aren't explained clearly for everybody, you want to make sure that you take just a second to explain that. Like, I'm a teacher and we write a lot with acronyms. So I understand what ESL means, but not everybody does. So the first time I use it, I might want to take a quick moment to explain it, so that later on in the piece, when I use that word or phrase or acronym again, everybody understands no matter what. So what I want you to do again is we're going to take about a little less than 5 minutes, because I did want to keep this at an hour. And I want you to just go back and see if there are any things that you might maybe need to star so that you can provide that further information or rearrange things or places that needed to be added to. All right, so let's do 3 minutes. I realize that says 5, but let's do 3 and go. Okay, you have about 30 seconds, and then we're going to move on to the next piece. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go to the next piece, and because I do want to make sure that I keep you in your time, in the time that I said I would keep you. So this is for you. This is for you to consider. That we don't necessarily need to share in the chat box. However, I do want to point out that I saw that Angela says she had a professor tell her that something she wrote probably wasn't hers, even though she'd spent all this time on it. And that is unfortunate, and I'm so sorry. I hate when that happens and people have bad experiences with writing, because obviously I love writing and I think it's fabulous. Okay, what I want you to do is take a moment again and look back and think about what questions you have about this piece. What are you concerned about? What do you want to do to change it? I know that you mentioned, Angela, that you may have a larger piece that you'd like to break into smaller pieces. So that might be one thing you list. Shirley said that she's having a little trouble maybe getting into it, really deep into it, and wants to be sure that she is really saying what she wants, how much she cares. So we're only going to take about 2 minutes here for the sake of time, but I do want you to take a moment and look at what questions you have, what you're concerned about, and what you want to change. All right, go ahead, 2 minutes. All right, we have about 30 seconds. All right, let's move to the last piece, the last official piece of what we're going to do today before we close up and talk at the end. But the last piece is I want you to think about what your next steps are. So what do you need to do to this piece now? And then where do you intend to post this? Do you have a blog? If you don't have a blog yet, where are you intending to write a blog? So you're just going to hold on to this, which is fine. But just on the side of your paper or in your computer, just kind of drop yourself some comments, some ideas about where you'd like to post this. This says 5 minutes, but again, we're only going to do about 2 minutes. It shouldn't take you much longer than to think about for about 2 minutes on your next steps and where you will post. Okay, go ahead. Okay, we have about 10 seconds. All right, you guys are awesome because you actually moved on to the next piece in the chat, which is exactly what I wanted you to do. And I want to talk about some of those concerns that you're having with what you're writing right now. And I want to address that as we have a few minutes left in our hour. Angela says that this writing seems more about writing through her own process and or working through her own process, I'm sorry. And would there be value in an audience to read that? Absolutely. If you are writing about your own process, whether it's your writing process or, because I'm not exactly sure what you mean, is it your writing process or your concern just like your business? Absolutely. If I think that it is always important to share very, very candidly with our audience. You don't have to share everything in your life, but I think showing the struggles that you've gone through, whether it's through writing or your own process for your business, absolutely, absolutely important. Because what could that become? Right now, what you're saying is that you don't feel like you have anything very entertaining or maybe informative, that you have more questions than answers. But if you're having those questions, somebody else is likely, and therefore you could create a how-to post, a listing post of the problems that somebody might have and how they're going to overcome it, how you've overcome it. Absolutely could you write posts on that. I think those are great. And there is definitely value in that process. She's worried about not making sense and not rambling on, and that's okay. Right now, it probably was more of a ramble, especially if you're not writing every single day and that's not something that is so comfortable for you to just bang out a post in like the 10 minutes that I gave you, okay? Normally you would want to take a lot longer, but we were trying to kind of get something put together for just this small group process. But yeah, I know it's hard to find your first real point, which is why on that previous slide, and I forgot to point it out, but you always want to write, and then you want to take about at least 24 hours to leave it alone and let it do its thing, okay? You want to let it cook so you can come back to it and see it with fresh eyes. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is that when you're writing and you are putting yourself into this piece of writing, you are really a part of it, right? You are so that you probably aren't going to see mistakes. And that is absolutely 100% true. Okay, so you need to leave it alone for at minimum 24 hours. I call it giving it cook time or bake time. Leave it alone, let it do its thing, let your brain forget what you have written, or mostly forget what you have written. And then when you come back, you have fresh eyes looking at that piece. That is when I personally find my mistake in grammar and spelling, which is the last piece you need to worry about. It's also when I might find where I said something that at the moment, like in the heat of writing, seemed really important or sounded really good, but when I reread it, it doesn't sound as good. And the reason you're too close to it is because if you look at it in the first minute and think that you can just fix it right now and send it off, you're likely to miss mistakes because you're so close to it. You just wrote it, so it's automatically going to make sense to you but to somebody else reading it, it may not make sense. So you always want to give your piece time to cook or to kind of be there, and you to go back and find the mistakes that you may have made. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so great. So I see that there aren't any other questions over in the chat. And I want to go to the last slide now because I want to tell you all about a couple of opportunities that are happening. And I want to definitely make sure that you know that there are two big things coming up. So you want to go to cluttergenius.com, and at the top you will see information about a course that I'm offering. It starts this coming Monday, the 11th, and after it's offered this coming Monday, it will be there, but it just won't be starting on the 11th. So if you're watching this months from now, this won't make sense, but it's called Blogging with Purpose. And what we're going to do in Blogging with Purpose is we're going to look at the 3 purposes for writing. There are only 3: informational, entertainment, and persuasion. And what we're going to do is I am going to walk you through those purposes, and then I'm going to help you write and show you how to write in those purposes, give you the tools that you need to reach your intended audience. And by the end of that course, which is 8 modules long, you will have 3 polished. I am going to be your teacher, and I am going to provide you feedback. I am going to provide you input. I am going to help you polish it up and make sure that it's ready to go on whatever site that you have created. So that's at cluttergenius.com. It's up at the top. It's called Blog with Purpose. Right now, it is in what I'm calling, or what is called, beta mode. It's the first time it's officially being offered. Now, granted, I have offered it multiple times if you consider how many times I've taught it to students. This is just the first time it's being offered in this venue. And so you get to be part of a Facebook group where you have me every single day at your disposal. I will be giving you direct feedback on your pieces of writing. You will write at minimum 3 pieces with me. There's no grade involved, so don't worry. And it will just be, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be so much fun and something really great to be a part of. Additionally, if you aren't already in my Blogging Genius group, make sure you go to facebook.com/groups/blogging-genius. I know Angela's there. Shirley, I'm not sure if you're there. And if you're watching the replay, make sure that you join us in that group, facebook.com/groups/cluttergenius. You guys, I'm so excited that you all came. We're at the hour now. It's 4 o'clock. So we're going to stop, but I really, really, really do appreciate you all being here. And those of you that participated, especially in the chat, that was extra super helpful and fun to have interaction with you all. It was great to get to know you a little bit. Shirley and Angela, thank you so much. If you're watching the replay, I do want to say that I hope you'll come over to our Facebook group. Find me on Clutter Genius. I'm on Twitter at Lids Rich is my name, and I am so excited. This was so much fun. I'm glad we did it. I hope you enjoyed the music. It was a little bit antiquated, but good stuff, right? Public domain. Again, as I said, all of the music that I used is in the public domain and copyright free. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you over on Clutter Genius.